Well, it's very important to send the message across the world that the social media adverts are wrong. If you come to the UK, you're not going to automatically be able to get cheap, quiet accommodation, which is unlawful, or you can't work without the proper legal background, the right visa. In relation to enforcement, we have dramatically upped our immigration enforcement visits. It's not just the police, it's the National Crime Agency, it's the borders. We have a lot of joint working together on this. So we do have capability. We've got more officers than before, and we are working hard in this area, and we are going to be able to make sure that those rogue landlords and rogue employers that think they can just rip everybody off by employing illegals, that's got to stop. It's not fair for the good people who are offering accommodation, the good landlords and the good employers. It's just not fair for them to be undercut by what is in fact criminal activity, let's be frank. So I'm very pleased that the Home Secretary is announcing today that we're upping penalties up to £60,000. Some might say it's about time too. We need to stop this criminal activity. It's international organised crime, let's not forget. It's not just one or two people that fancy coming to the UK. This is organised crime and it has to stop. It's cross-nation and it mustn't stop in the UK.
Well, Sarah, GB News performed a sting on a car wash in Aldershot recently, and illegals were working there on the black market, and they were staying at a hotel in Aldershot paid for by you, by the government, by Serco. What would happen in those instances? So the landlord of those illegal residents was the government. Would you fine yourselves?
Well, that's quite shocking. Of course, we need to stamp out this practice, and this is as a result of the huge influx of people that we've had, illegal migrants across the Channel. And you will get people that will try and work the system, which is why we have to enforce larger penalties just to stop this sort of thing. And what we want to do is, of course, get migrants out of hotels, and we won't have this kind of situation. We need to get migrants processed in perfectly decent but fundamental rudimentary accommodation, not hotels. Why should social media, why should crime advertise across the world? Come to the UK. You can stay in a hotel and you can either rent illegally or you can work illegally. Frankly, it's got to stop, and I'm pleased that this Prime Minister and the Home Secretary are doing something about it.
Sarah, I agree with what you're saying, but I'll put it to you again. The government, Serco, is the biggest landlord of asylum seekers, and if those asylum seekers are proved to be working illegally, and as in your own plan you'll set out to fine them, you'll be fining the landlord, which is the Serco. I'll just repeat my question. Will the government be in a position where you'll be fining yourselves?
Well, effectively it's subcontracted, isn't it? Serco will have the same legal responsibilities as any landlord across the nation, where they can do a very simple 5-minute check online with the Home Office. These are established principles for landlords. The processes have been established for a while. Landlords can quite easily check, as can employers. So, of course, there has been an influx across the Channel. Nobody doubts that. And where there is a possibility of a mass migration through safe countries, you end up with situations like this. It has to be policed better, and yes, if Serco need to be fined, they need to be fined. They need to do their job as best as possible, along with anybody else that's giving accommodation.